What is up, everybody? This is RybackStun. We have returned to Marvel Heroes. We are on the test center once again, pretty quickly actually, and we have the Juggernaut here, who is quite massive and has a very interesting power set. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to look at his hero synergy, and his hero synergy is quite unique. Plus 5% damage for movement powers and minus 5% spirit cost for movement powers. So he's the only one that does what that is, and that's pretty interesting. Actually, I think, no, Ms. Marvel's all energy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he is the only one that is able to increase movement power stuff. So there's that. He's got loads of power. He's got 3 trees: Mystical Powerhouse, Unstoppable, and Avatar of Sidorak. What you'll notice is on the bottom right-hand corner, I have my spirit bar is not actually spirit, it's called momentum, and it starts at 0. They've tried this mechanic before with Wolverine's Fury. It didn't work out all too well, but with Juggernaut, because all of his powers are based off of... none of his powers cost anything, but with the exception of, I think, 1 or 2, but all of his powers queue off of momentum. He's going to have a lot of stuff that deals with movement and momentum, so a lot of those old-school movement uniques may or may not be good for him. So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the Mystical Powerhouse tree. I have the same power on 2 of my bars, which I'll explain to you what that is when it gets there. But the first power we have is a basic. It's called Barroom Brawling. Physical damage in your movement will not decay for 4 seconds. Also, notice my momentum goes up as I walk. So if I'm punching, my momentum will not decay while I'm punching or for 4 seconds afterwards. First power we have is Heavy Punch. You spend 45 momentum to increase the damage by 75%. So, notice how my momentum went down there. There it is without the momentum. Here it is with the momentum. Pretty interesting difference. Next we have Round of Applause. It's physical damage plus vulnerability. Cooldown is 3 seconds. You spend 90 momentum to increase the damage by 100% and double the area of effect. So we're going to clap that way, and then we're going to move around. And we're going to clap again. Pretty significant there. These guys got vulnerable when I did it. Next we have Big Headbutt. Does physical damage. And you can spend 90 momentum to deal physical damage twice per second. So this is very much like Thing's Headbutt, where normally he just... Oops, sorry. Headbutts, and there's that. But if you spend the momentum, boom, drops a bleed on him. And look at that lovely bleed. Next we have Rope-a-Dope, which is another basic attack. It does physical damage and has an attack speed, but the attack speed is increased up to 100% at maximum momentum for the more momentum you have. So, we'll look at this really quick. I'm actually going to hit this one. There we go. Alright. Very slow. But, if I run around a little bit... By the way, this is his travel power. I'll describe that as soon as I get there. I just want to get up to maximum momentum, which takes a little while. He hits more and better, so there's that. Next we have Devastating Charge. It's physical damage, it's a full charge, and it restores 50% of your maximum momentum when used. So, boom. And it has a cooldown. The last attack in this tree he has is called Earthquake, where you spend 242 momentum to increase the damage by 250% and trigger a 6-second cooldown. So it does a lot of damage there, in and of itself. But if you leave it just the way it is, it's a 1-second attack speed, and you can pretty much just spam it around. But if you've got that momentum going, it's pretty good. We also have a movement power in the Unstoppable tree called Stride. It's a 550 travel speed, and it restores 10% of your maximum momentum per second while channeling, which is why I had it on there. And you got that little thing, and he runs, doesn't cost anything, so the Juggernaut's going to be juggernauting as he runs around and does his stuff. Next tree in Unstoppable, we have a basic melee movement ability called Lariat, which runs and does an attack, and because you're moving, you are smacking enemies and gaining momentum. First ability here is called Cannot Be Stopped. It's got a passive effect that increases your damage rating. It reduces the cost of your momentum powers. Oh, momentum cost reduction, excuse me, is 3%. And your movement speed increases as you gain momentum. And I believe this is an ability that is on, yes, 1 ranked at level 1. And it gives you some tenacity. It also has the active effect of being your CC breaker. So since you already have 1 point in it, you might as well take it. We also have Big Elbow Drop. It's physical damage, it's got a knockdown, and you can spend all remaining momentum to increase its damage by 5% per movement point. It has a 1-second cooldown. So you need to be able to get to your destination point. But there you go. But let's say you wanted to get a little bit more momentum going. Swah! All your momentum goes down, and boom. Next power we have is called Enter the Fray. It is also movement power. It's got a 3-second cooldown. If you're below 150 momentum, you restore 150 momentum. But if you're above 150 momentum, you spend 145 momentum. You do extra tremor damage per second, and it has a duration of 6 seconds. So cooldown is 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and do that. And since I've got that stuff, I'm going to walk around a little bit, and now, boom, and the tremor activates damage there. Pretty darn cool. Next, we have the signature called Unstoppable Charge. It does physical damage twice per second, has an active duration of 6 seconds, a stun duration of 1.5 seconds every time you hit somebody, and it's a cooldown of 1 minute. Also movement power. You just run. Boom, boom. Look at that healthy sound. Let's listen to that. How healthy that sound is. It's amazing. Next, we have Devastating Charge, which is a power that we had earlier. I'm not entirely sure why it's in both trees, but boom. Devastating Charge from the first tree? No, it's not. It's from the Unstoppable tree. Apologies. And then you have, again, Stride. Next, we have the Avatar of Sidorak tree, which actually has a lot of buffs and toggles in it. So first things first is called Crimson Force Field. Its passive effect gives you maximum health and defense rating. You regenerate health per second, and you block. You have an 8% chance to block attacks. You also have Invulnerability that activates on defeat. So this is a resurrection power, which is pretty cool. Its active slows... Oh, the invulnerability automatically activates, which is this ability. It slows enemies by 25% movement speed and has a 20-second cooldown. You just activate it, you get some invulnerability, and then boom. Invulnerability is 1.5 seconds. Then we have Don't You Know Who I Am? I'm the Juggernaut. It's a taunt. It weakens. Boom. He doesn't say it, though, which makes me kind of sad. Next thing we have is Wrath of Sidorak, which actually shares a cooldown with another power called Scion of Sidorak. So before I activate any of them, I'm going to tell you what each of them does. Wrath of Sidorak is a big area melee attack, which does physical damage. It has a plus 10% critical chance. It restores 100% of your maximum momentum, and it has a 40-second cooldown. But your cooldown is reduced by 1 second every time you spend momentum. For Scion of Sidorak, it increases your damage rating by a lot, a crit rating by a lot, crit damage by a lot, and it restores 25% of your maximum momentum per second with an 8-second buff duration. And it has a 40-second cooldown, which is reduced by 1 second per movement. I'm not going to activate either of these because it's not important what they do. But if you want a big area of effect attack that gives you an extra 10% critical chance and restores your maximum momentum immediately so you can continue using attacks, and then you spend them. If you get it done well enough, you might be able to keep this up infinitely to restore your momentum 100% every time. Or if you just want something that's going to slowly restore your stuff while giving you a big buff, this is another thing that you can probably keep up indefinitely depending on how you do your cooldown with momentum abilities. We have 2 toggles here. One of them is called Lean Into It, which gives you damage rating for your mystical powerhouse powers. Your Sunday Punch damage is 5%, which is this ability right here. Sorry, I did not name the powers. That's the one that can only be used when you have maximum... I did not show you Sunday Punch. I apologize. That's where the Q is supposed to be. We'll do that really quick in just a second. I'm going to finish these. Apologies. Your momentum decay rate is reduced by 10%, and you have 25% damage negation for 4 seconds when you hit with the mystical powerhouse power. So this is if you want to go just straight slug it out, punch, 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 punch attacks. You also have the Human Juggernaut, which increases your damage rating for unstoppable powers. It gives your Big Elbow Drop 10% extra damage. Your momentum gain rate is increased by 5%, and you have 25% damage negation for 8 seconds when you hit with an unstoppable power. So that's pretty solid there. I'm going to go ahead and actually activate Wrath of Sidorak. Boom, big power attack, and then you get to see Sunday Punch, which is pretty significant. Does a nice fair bit of damage there, but it can only be used when you're above 75% momentum. You do have different toggles that allow you to do different things. Not Wrath of Sidorak, apologies. What is it called? Lean Into It is going to be your mystical powerhouse toggle, while Human Juggernaut is going to be your unstoppable one. I think I'm going Unstoppable Juggernaut because I've always wanted a movement build. I've wanted to make Colossus a kind of a movement build, but he hasn't had that capacity to be able to do that just yet. But last but not least, what we have here is Full Power. It does a big shockwave, increases your physical damage per melee hit with a 0.8 second cooldown, gives you it gives you a lot of damage rating. It's not 405. And it has a 10-minute cooldown with a 20-second buff duration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my movement powers here. I'm going to activate my ultimate. Look at how big he comes. And then he just messes around and just blows people up. Charge, boom. Do all those little things. That was the big elbow drop that I just used there. And luckily his signature is definitely the unstoppable power, but he just does a ton of damage. He can't do a ton of damage and just continuously refresh his momentum. So I think, honestly, I would be using a mixture of Human Juggernaut and Scion of Sidorak so I can continue getting momentum continuously while I'm doing my stuff, and just being able to knock out those things while spending momentum and using the big elbow drop for big power damage. So, I hope you guys enjoyed Juggernaut as much as I did showcasing it to you. I'm actually very much looking forward to him, where originally I was not. So seeing him on Test Center really changed my opinion of what he was going to be like. I can't even begin to fathom what they're going to end up doing with characters like Magneto and Venom. So, hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did filming it. Remember to like and comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Tumblr at RybackStun. More videos as they come along, and with that, this is RybackStun, signing out.